Hello and welcome to Rising with RLP. I am your host, Tammie, the founder and owner of RLP Holistic Wellness. RLP Holistic Wellness is a practice that is here to help women end their own personal suffering and step into a place of joy, radiancy, and basically rocking the hell out of this world. So today we've got Courtney from Tucked in Tarot with us. And guess what? We're just going to talk about life. We're going to talk about business, talk about those things that we don't really want to share with others and just deal. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Moving slow, but good. Very good.
Oh, yeah. I've been up today getting things over this last week. I've been getting things together for this vendor gig that I'm going to be doing on Saturday, and I'm super excited about it. And I just, you know, how you get happy and excited, excited,
hmm
nervous. And I'm like, I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my goodness, am I enough? Are the people going to like me?
hmm
Is it going to be like all the what if, that
Yeah,
stuff that we do where we pull our future forward and we try to be able to figure out what's going to happen.
yeah. It's the trying to control everything, trying to control everything before it even happens, before you're even there. Which great, you want to be prepared. But, oh, it puts too much pressure on yourself when you kind of get into that mind loop. But it can be very hard to get out of.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But I will say over these past few years of in my own personal journey, I am finding that as I become more mindful and be in the moment,
Mhm.
be in that now, if I stay in the present, it's like my mind just comes up and I'm like, no, it's not. Let's get woo woo a little bit, but it's like the universe, it's spirit, God, however you want to put it, ancestors, just saying, hey, come back here, right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And I think that feeling of excitement and anxiety that you were just describing, that gets so hard to kind of deduce and figure out, okay, is this a good excitement or is this a bad excitement? Am I being warned about something? Am I supposed to do this? And that is when that practice of being mindful comes in really well. Because one trick I don't even know if it's a trick, a suggestion, a practice, whatever you want to call it. But I went to a tarot reader years ago in Galveston at this really cute little shop called The Witchery. And the woman was telling me about like new things that were coming my way. And I had at that point in time, I had a promotion and it was well in the city and I was anxious about it. And she's like, okay, well, you have a hard time kind of figuring out if your anxiety is warning you or encouraging you. And she goes, I get the sense that you get this feeling like in your stomach. Like, do you get that like the butterflies in your stomach whenever you have like like
Yes.
the feeling? All right. So what she said to do is that, okay, focus in on that butterfly feeling. And if it moves up towards like the chest or like the throat, it's a yes. It's telling you like you can go for it. You're on the right track. It's something that you should be excited about. But she said if it goes downwards, like towards like the hip or like just like really like in the gut, and it's almost like it makes you sink, it's almost like a boom, like a weighted feeling. It's telling you not to move. And I've practiced that, and that makes so much sense because when you're on the right track, that kind of that feeling of excitement and that energy is propelling you forward. And when you're in alignment, things just seem to work out, and there's not as much stress around it. But when spirit's trying to tell you, hey, that's not the right move, what do they want you to do? They want you to stop. They're going to make you sit your ass down. And so that feeling can be a really good way of almost using your body as like its own like pendulum or dowsing rod, like actually using the body as a tool for discerning what's right for you and what isn't.
You know what? And they talk about that in the chakra studies, how in Vedas, it's that they look at the chakras as it's like your body is a map,
Hmm.
and each chakra is like so we'll say like the root chakra is that lower body, and it's like what is that word? Not owner, but like the head of that region. So
Hmm.
you've got like your organs, your lower back, your glutes, your legs, when it's in alignment, that energy, what they talk about, like in the woo woo, is that higher vibration. And it's more of like a heady and up, like in the
Hmm.
sky feeling. Well, I
Hmm.
know that's how it is for me.
No, it's like that for me too. You don't feel as pressured, but yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And so I'm like, I love that though. I really do love that. I'm going to try that out.
yeah.
You know, my biggest like thing that I love to keep myself mindful is really that, like, just breathing, bringing my awareness to my breath. And like, if you've ever heard me do a meditation where I'm like, you know, bring your awareness to your chest, the way that it rises and flows. And if you're someone that does breath work or even yoga, because yoga includes the breath work and the meditation. So if you're someone that does it, when you bring your awareness to a certain part of your body and you begin to be fully mindful and fully like wrapped around and absorb into to that part of your body, you begin to find yourself either drifting into another state, a
Hmm.
different state of, what do they call it? They say like the delta state, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Putting yourself into that moment. And like, that's where I can see using your body as like the pendulum, like really tapping in. I can see that really, yeah, man, dude, that takes you everywhere.
It does, and I feel like when I meet people who are interested in in spirituality and they're wanting to know about like signs and symbols. They kind of view it as something that's going to be textbook, and they completely disregard all of the feelings and sensations that their body is trying to tell them. And I'm a firm believer that if you are not able to listen to your body, you're going to have a very difficult time with any messages or signs or symbols that are coming to you, because you don't actually have an anchor point and you don't trust yourself enough to decode and receive those messages. It's,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
you know what I mean?
It's really funny that you bring that up because that right there could be due to upbringing.
Hmm.
That right there could be due to needing some to do inner work and things like that. Let's talk about upbringing. Like, I saw women in my family, like they held like big things, like I had an aunt that was like a CNA. She was like, and back in her time, that like big thing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they were the ones that took care of all the family. So the cousins, their kids, the cousins, all that stuff, and made sure everybody was good. And they're this one way that we see them this one way. And then when they get older or they have a moment of vulnerability, you truly get to like see who they really are and that they've been upholding
Hmm.
this mask, wearing this mask. And I really like what we were talking about. I really believe that the not trusting yourself can come from seeing people that you grew up around. So for me, it would be women. So women that I grew up around, seeing that they were some of them were showing strong on the out, but really on the in, it's this meek person not really ready to make waves in any way.
Mhm.
I've watched lately because of doing this type of work. I've really started to become a major people watcher. So I'm like, I laugh because I'm like, oh, dude, you're a creep. Stop being a creep. And like, so I've been like this people watching. And
Uh-huh.
as I watch like some of the older women in my family, like I watch them age and get into this space of like seeing this older woman who's like in her 60s or 70s really trying to re-identify and just step into a place of like who truly am I?
Mhm.
Because you'll find them struggling where they want to be like snappy or they want to take things to offense and like they're worried, they're scared and all these different things. And
Mhm.
I watch it and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, dude, I don't care how old you are. I feel you right now because I'm in that space. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I'm in this space now because I'm not supposed to be trying to figure it out later.
Do you, because I know for me, whenever I'm looking at some of the people in my family, or even not even just family, but just overall.
Yes,
And especially whenever you have those people who want to keep up appearances, right? Like you always have to make sure that yes, make sure you are clean, you have clean clothes, you're well groomed.
fresh and
But right, right, and even like your home, right? Because it does represent who you are. But I think there becomes a bit more of a pressure to make everything look perfect for the validation and the acceptance of other people. And I feel like, just from what I've seen so far, when that's all anyone really worries about, and then they start going through kind of those trials and tribulations where you start seeing some of those shadowy aspects of their nature, you
Mhm.
can actually see how old they are mentally and emotionally. You might be looking at someone who is like 60 or 70, but I know for myself, I've looked at family members going, oh, you're no older mentally and emotionally than you were at maybe 14 or 15 because you want to keep up the appearance, right? You want to be seen as popular and successful and happy and content and your life is just easy. But when things don't go your way, then you want to lash out or you want to become the mean girl, or if you see someone that you feel is a threat to you or is better than you want to tear them down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's when and it's so interesting that you even went back to like that mentally, they're still in that age of like 14
Mhm.
because, and they say this in drug addiction.
Mhm.
I personally feel, and now I've noticed this is in any substance, any trauma, like childhood or even adulthood
Mhm.
trauma, that is where your brain is where when that trauma first happened.
Yeah.
So like if this is going to be silly, but I slam my finger in the door when I'm
Mhm.
getting out the car. It's funny because I'm always in the car. If you know me, you know I'm always in the damn car. And I slam my finger in the car door. Now, here's the killer. I did slam my finger in the car door like when I was 10 years old. Until this day, one time my sister closed my finger in the door. And till this day, you'll see me when I go to get in the car, when I go to close the door, my fingers are all on the outside. Every That's where the trauma happened.
Mhm.
Now, sometimes, and this is the interesting, like somatic aspect of it, is that when you have that trauma, so when this trauma happens, as say whatever the trauma is, when that trauma happens, it stores itself in your body. So in Kundalini Reiki, there's 6 sub Reikis, and one of the Reiki sub Reikis talks about that and talks about how when a trauma happens, let it be an injury, let it be a mental, let it be a physical trauma, it stores itself in your body. So sometimes, and this is again You know what? Everybody thinks different. Everybody feels different. If you've got pain or
Mhm.
you are struggling mentally, go to a medical professional. The experience that I have in this moment, the experience that either of us have, those are our personal experiences.
Mhm.
And I will be open. If either of us have an issue or a challenge, guess where we're going? I am going to my therapist and I'm going to my doctor.
Honey. Yes, because oh my God. My therapist, she's back in Houston, but she is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yes, you do have to be responsible for your own well-being and making sure that you are good, especially if you are going to do things like inner child healing, or even shadow work.
Hmm.
Um, ooh, because I mean, as trendy as it's been, even though I really haven't seen much of it like on social media as much anymore, but it's still something that is trendy and it is still something that people think that they have to do. If you're going to do it, do not do it by yourself and make sure you have a medical community that can support you while going through all of that, because you may dig up things that you're not equipped to handle by yourself.
Yes.
And that can be a very, very hard thing. But on the flip side of it, if you're trying to maybe tap into some of that shadow aspect, but you don't want to go full force, you can do what I call light work. I don't know if that's a term anyone else uses, but you do the things that you enjoy doing that maybe you have suppressed or you were told is not of value or substance. Like you go out and do those things as long as they are healthy and you have a little bit of fun, and that can actually help ease you into some of that shadow work.
Dude, I call that my happy time.
Mhm.
Happy time. I like, or I call it happy time or Tammie time. That's my Tammie
Yes.
time. I do the things that bring me excitement and bring me joy.
Yeah.
And, I really do want to step back really quick to what you were saying that, making sure you're working with the team. When
Mhm.
I have my one on one clients, I do the one on one, the take your life back that I do, the 90-day program that I do. I take, I send them paperwork to send to their like therapist, to send to their PCP. It's got, all the information of like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going with this.
Mm.
You know, do you feel that this is stuff that your client could do? Like, you
Right.
know, and I'll make sure to communicate, get permission from your client, da 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 da. Because I think that, you know, like I know I'm not a therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm a one on, you know what I mean? I'm a coach. I'm a life coach, a transformational coach. And I think that it's really important that we do stay with all of these different things. Like, somatic coaching is very intense. Like I really love the trauma informed, you know, extra additional education program that I did. The two gentlemen, they were very amazing, amazing guys. And they had experienced trauma in their life and things like that. And they really pull a lot of that in, but they also get into like the cognitive and the dissociative and these different things. So you are informed on what people are dealing with when it comes to the mind.
Because it's a lot. But no, you do need to have a team around you. You need to have some type of community around you. And that in and of itself, being able to have a network that you trust and support, especially if you are dealing with trauma, can be a very challenging thing to do, but it is a necessary step. At least for me and what I went through, like I really needed to build a healthy team and a community. And I did start with making sure that I had a therapist that could, yes, validate what I was experiencing, but also give me some truth about
Mhm.
about what I was perceiving and being able to kind of see it from, I don't want to say both sides, but just give me a clear picture of what was actually happening, and giving me some tools and resources to actually help me and myself get out of
Mhm.
certain patterns and behavior that were unhealthy. But if you're going to do this work, you do need to know that you have to be responsible and accountable, because to improve, gonna sound kind of harsh, but you cannot be stuck in that victim mentality. And I think some people, at least from my own experience and my own interactions and the people that I've spoken to, there is a very, very significant distinction between people who are actively wanting to do the work and people who like being stuck in that victim mentality and who are comfortable with the discomfort and are comfortable with the pain and the disappointment and are just exacerbating that in their lives. So yeah, if you want to get better, you do have to kind of take the reins there.
Yeah, and, the one thing, though, is that, I feel that when there are people that are stuck in that space,
Hmm.
that they get there by they're like, "It's the people, it's the places, it's the things,"
Hmm.
you know? And then you find out that really, no, it's not those. It's actually you. Like, what is stopping you? I posted
Hmm.
that today. Like, what are you afraid of? And
Hmm.
so I put up there, in that post that I am afraid that I'm not enough. I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And these are things that people look at and they're like, oh, they watch you. And some people are like, oh, they just want people to they want to, make it look like it's perfect.
Hmm.
And then they have these, like, people say whatever they say because people are people, right? And we have to love and accept people for who they are. That's just where they are today. It doesn't mean they're going to be there forever. Now, I look at that, and so today I put, like, that I'm not good enough. And this is something that this is a part of my life. I I sometimes go back and the case of the imposter syndrome will hit me,
Hmm.
where it's like, you know, you're not good enough. You need to do more. You need to take more classes. You need to do this. You need to do that. And then it's like, wait a minute. Then when I go to do it, I'm like, why am I taking this class?
Uh-huh.
Why am I taking this class? And of course, now don't get it twisted. There's a difference in the classes. There's a difference in the classes, y'all.
Hmm.
You have classes that are furthering education. And I say that anybody that's been doing something for a year. Now you start, this is at the beginning, you start, you get certified or get whatever it is that you get for what you're doing.
Hmm.
And then you're now a practitioner of this. So now here comes these classes that, yes, it's an additional education. And maybe sometimes it's certified. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just additional ed. It's considered just additional education. So you're doing this additional education, but then there are some that are like, let me go back to the very beginning because I don't think that I did it good enough the first time.
Yes.
And hi, I'm Tammie. I am one of those.
But I think that's healthy though, because and I'll be honest with you, Tammy, I'm kind of in that same mindset right now. There's two thoughts. I'll start with this first one. That's the most recent. Then I'll go back to the original one that I had. But the if you've built something, right, you can have the foundation. You can be like, oh, I really enjoy this, right? But there's still maintenance that has to be done. Like if you've built like your dream home, like the color's perfect, the flooring's great, the foundation's level, like everything is well up to code. But when you start living in it every day, you still have to clean it. There are going to be repairs. There's going to be things that you're going to have to go back and revisit. There are going to be things that you're going to either want to expand on. There are going to be rooms that you're going to want to close off. It's going to be the same thing with your projects and your work. And I do think it is healthy when it's balanced to go back and revisit and edit some of the things that are working for you and be like, okay, does this still fit with who I am and where I am currently? Is this still of
Mhm.
value to me? And if it is, how can I continue to have a healthy relationship with this so that way this project grows with me?
Yep. And not
right?
against me.
And that's me. And I'm actually going through this whole thing of going back and editing certain classes and presentations because I'm like, okay, I have the information, but I feel like I need to streamline this a little bit. And I started to do the thing that I always do, which is, oh, well, I need to add more. It needs to be more. I need to put more. And I was looking at this going, I don't need to add more. This is it. This is the information. What I need to do is go back and edit this to simplify it and make it just more streamlined. There's nothing else that we have to add. Now, the first thought that I had with that, I need to do more. I need to add more. I need to go and do the classes. Okay, let me ask you this. So when you were growing up, how often were you praised for the amount of weight that you could carry, the amount of responsibility and tasks and stress that
Mhm.
you could carry that other people were putting on you and putting pressure on you to accomplish, and you not showing an ounce of frustration or stress? But if you did something that was successful and easy and something that did not wear you down, were you praised for that task?
No, because of the hard work thing. It was that hard work ethic back in the day. I've noticed this from talking with my clients and then other friends
Mm-hmm.
that it's that what did they call it? They said, "Oh yes, I used to walk 20 miles to school
Mm-hmm.
and walk back every day in the snow with like cheap boots on or something." But it's that the harder you work, the better you are.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I I say it often is that was right for that time.
Mm-hmm.
That was right for that time because most of the people that were melanated came from an experience of
Yes.
work harder as you do my job. Now
Mhm.
that's a totally different
Yeah.
spot that we're not standing on today. But it's that thought of you have to work harder to be successful.
Mhm.
And we have a whole bunch of people that are basically, falling out doing that grind and hustle thing.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, and there is a time and a place for it, but
Mhm.
it that grind and that hustle and adding more stress and tasks and things to do to your plate is not really going to help you because then you're not able to actually enjoy what it is that you've already created and
Yeah,
to be
'cause you're
able to do
stressing.
it with fresh eyes. And when you continually add all the stress and pain and worry to your plate, you wind up having resentment for the thing that you were trying to build in the first damn place.
And I think that ends up coming from that, and people said they hated it or whatever, but I don't care. It is the fact of you need to love yourself before you can love anyone else.
Oh, I remember you telling me. I was like, who said they hated that?
And they were like, no, there's no way. But I brought that back of then you end up having resentment because guess what? The people that you were loving on didn't love you the same way that you love them. But guess what? That's because you should have been putting that energy into you.
But that's typically what they're used to, and that's what's normal
And
for
that,
them. Mhm.
yes,
And
that's
then
where I was going with that.
it leans into, oh God, okay, we're really about to get into this. So people always want to talk about like narcissists and people taking advantage of you. Okay, great. Those are terrible people. But if you are going in to like your relationships or your dynamics with the idea of being a people pleaser simply because you know what it's like to not receive and you just want to give and you want to do all these things, what are your intentions? What are you expecting to get out? Because at that point, it is now a transactional relationship. And you're not genuinely giving to these people because you actually care. You are giving to these people because you don't want them to go anywhere. And sometimes people pleasers will find other broken people But they can go, oh, I can save you. I can help you. But I don't really want you to be that much better, because if you're better, you're going to leave. So I'm going to kind of keep you
Ooh.
like back and forth with me while I'm going to be giving, but then I can guilt trip. It's almost like the nicer version or victimized version of narcissism. Not a doctor, not therapist. I cannot diagnose, but just like in a nutshell, that's just kind of how I view it.
Mhm.
So the outright selfishness of narcissism, but also being an active victim in
Mm.
your relationships can be just as toxic and manipulative.
Yes. And you know what, guys, again, I'm with Courtney. Remember, we are not therapists, but I will say this, that we all at some point of time have been this kind of person that Courtney
Mhm,
is describing. I am
mhm.
Tammie. And I was there. I was there.
I was there too. I was there.
And but this isn't about shaming y'all. This is about non-judgmental awareness and accepting who you are for who you are for you.
Mhm,
It's time. And, I've been saying this lately, and this is kind of going back to the breathing and stuff too, but breathe, believe, and become. As you take that moment to stop, take a breath, smell the roses, get a little active in there, you become more excited. You become happy. You become, let's just say it, no fucks given, unbothered. It's all that breathe. You believe and you start smelling, you get that action, you become. And there you are
mhm.
in this space of no fucks given.
That's true. Because like relationships are going to be hard enough, you know? So why not try to figure out where you yourself are messing up? Because if you keep getting stuck in the this person did this to me and they didn't accept me and I just don't feel, that they, really truly want to be there for me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like it sucks, but are you there for you? Do you accept you? And why on earth would you want to invest so much time and energy into people who really don't? I don't want to say that they don't give a damn about you, but they can't show up for you in the way that you need them to.
Uh-huh.
And why can you not accept that?
And like an answer from my own experience,
Mhm.
because I'll tell you guys, my answer from my own experience is because I wanted them to go with me.
Oh,
I wanted to take them with me
mhm,
because guess what? We're together, we're family, we're this, we're that. But it is a big kick in the teeth when you realize that statement, that you'll hear me say that we all heal, it's just in our own time. When you realize that it's not their time,
mhm,
and maybe their time won't ever come.
mhm,
Maybe their time will come, but 10 years later. And maybe as you become, you are not going to be feeling where they are. And you're going to be like, wait a minute, this isn't for me. Now, when you say this isn't for me, that's not saying that you wasted your time. That's not saying that
mhm.
you didn't get or give in that time. That's saying that, guess what? Growth, transformation happens. So now it's time to transform and continue to move forward in the direction that's aligning with you and your soul purpose or soul vision.
Yeah. Because there, mhm. I, I kind of
I'm
sometimes
an advocate.
is that leaving people behind? Oh, I mean, gotten. I hate to say it, but I've gotten pretty good at it. Gotten okay with it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people that I miss, and I would love. And sometimes I'm like, man, I really miss having these moments with that person. But them as a whole, that it doesn't fit. We don't go together. who I'm trying to be, where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do, it's not going to fit. And sometimes we want to take people with us because we feel like we can save them.
Mhm.
Or there is the thought of, well, when I'm successful and they can see it, and I'm able to again provide more for these people that are not pouring into me evenly. It's that constant loop of trying to earn the care and consideration, love, the time, the commitment from people who cannot invest in you in the same way, in the way that you want them to.
But here's the kicker, they can't invest in themselves. They can't
Baby.
invest in themselves either. How many of us, it's that we'd say it, what was it? This thing I posted that don't be mad, or what is it? Don't be mad at, don't be upset if somebody doesn't like you. Most of these people don't even like themselves.
Hey, listen.
That's the thing. We're a bunch. So, and asshole thing to say. So I'm opening it up now. If you hear me say that, that means I'm going to say something. And guess what? You may fucking be triggered. You made me fucking triggered. I'm going to be honest. Is we got a whole bunch of people that don't fucking like themselves. Now, I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm not saying this is everybody, because there are those folks that really like themselves and love themselves. And guess what? They're busy. They're fucking busy, and they don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't care. No. Yes. Turn around. I'm talking to you. Yes. Turn around. Yes. Don't be triggered. Don't be upset. It's true. It may sting a little bit. Guess what?
Well,
not the only one stinging.
So
I was.
But if you are triggered by that statement, there's something there that you need to look at.
And let me tell you though, I was triggered by that statement the first time I heard it. And I was like, fuck you.
You know what though? But Tammie, you're not alone. Because there are some days I don't like me. There are some days I'm just kind of like, oh girl, I cannot stand you right now. But you know what? I'm beginning to like and love myself. But I will tell you, I was throat punched too when my therapist was just like, have you thought about loving you instead of relying on other people to love you? And I'm just like, and you know, my first response was, why should I have to do that?
You want to know what mine was? Like, yes, I do, Rebecca. No, like, you need to mind your fucking business. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh,
You're paying her to mind your business. So, like, shut your mouth and sit back. Let Rebecca talk.
Right? Because if your first instinct, if someone goes, you need to love you first, because you're not going to be able to properly love other people, and they get upset or tell you that you're wrong, or they get defensive. Oh my God. No, honey, that's you. That is you. You are the problem. You are the problem.
But how many of us did it take forever to see that? I'll tell you, that first time that I saw that, oh my goodness. And I still feel it, even though this was like 7 years ago. Like that. And guess what? Let me tell you, it may have originally happened 7 years ago. Every year I get kicked right in the good stuff. Every year it's one thing, one moment that I'm like, oh, I'm hurting. It hurt. But that, like, you know, and let me tell you, it is like, guys, I know it sounds awful and you're like, I don't want to feel any of that. It's okay.
Fix it. If you don't want to feel it, fix it. If you feel that something is not right, instead of running from it, fix it. It is scary. It's unknown charted territory. But once you actually have that conversation with whatever that trigger, whatever that feeling is, and you're able to work through it and actually just see it for what it is no longer scary. And yeah, will you experience that same cycle again where there will be things that are going to bring up those memories? Absolutely. But each time that you're faced with it, you'll be able to process it in healthier ways. And you'll be able to gauge going, okay, I didn't respond the way that I used to. Or even if you did, you'll have enough self-awareness to reflect going, damn, I did that same thing that I always do. okay, next time, 'cause I know it's going to happen. Next time, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to try to do this and just see what happens.
Right? I'm going to tell myself next time we're going to take care of this. Next time we're going to take care of this. Next time. And the thing, folks, is that you can do this with anything and everything. So today, you guys know today is actually the last day of season 1. We are the Divine Femme. And you guys will hear from us next year in spring. We will be back with a whole new 12 episodes. And guess what? I think we're gonna like see way, way more of Courtney. And we may have some other guests, but it's gonna be a lot of Tammie and Courtney. So I'm just throwing that out there. But this is that going back because there's things that I would do over again with this podcast. I would do it over again where I would pick, you know, maybe do 3 a month. You know what I mean? Versus the 4.
Mhm.
And being able to be open and say, hey, I'm holding myself accountable because I know what work I did and I know where like I could be better than I was the last time.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, Courtney, speaking of like next year, we're almost into the next year. So if you guys know in the little blog at the bottom of this, take a look, click the link. That is the new 2025 breath 2025 breathwork calendar by RLP and Sage Green Goddess. It's called 12 Months of Breath. Take a look at our square checkout. The link will be in the comments or the little blurb at the bottom. And Courtney, what do you have going on the end of this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, right now the end of the year is pretty much laid out. I typically will schedule things like a year in advance, especially when it comes to my empowerment tarot. But pulling back just a bit,
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing the empowerment tarot like every Saturday and only giving myself, the fifth Saturday off, which is like once every few months, I'm only going to be doing it twice a month instead of 4 times a month. So that way I can actually take a breather for myself. I can enjoy not saying that I don't enjoy my Saturday groups because I absolutely do, but I want to make sure that my energy levels are sufficient and that I am showing up as my best self and refreshed. So we have that going. We also started a new once a month Saturday club with Laura of Dream Interpretation. So this Saturday, what's the date today? August 23rd. So tomorrow, August 24th, on my meetup group, Tucked in Tarot, we are starting a dream journal club. So we will talk about sleep hygiene, best ways to start remembering your dreams. And then we'll discuss our dreams and talk about signs and symbols and what they mean and how they actually apply to your waking everyday life. So I'm really excited about that.
Love that. I freaking love Lala. So I might be joining, and I love you, of course.
Oh, I love
But now I'm like, I may be coming to join you guys.
Yes. And then with some of those Saturdays being to myself and having a more open schedule, by next year I am going to be offering my classes and they'll be posted up on my new updated website, tuckedintarot.com.
Yes.
Right now I have my tarot reading services posted. So those are good for bookings. So you can reach out to me there, but I will be offering a variety of tarot classes. And then I also have a series of classes on how to build a foundation for your spiritual practice. If you are a witch or you're into spellcrafting, how you can build that practice, and then also just some manifestation as well. But it's not as woo woo. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what candle to light. That's not my business. we're going to actually talk about how to actually utilize like your emotions and who you are and what you want to get the things that you want. So those that will be up by, if not the end of this year, first thing starting next year in 2025.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. RLP is finishing the rest of the year. So we've got the calendar, but the rest of the year is going to be we're doing our last two certification courses. We've got the Kundalini Reiki Master Teacher course, which is a 90-day course. At the end, you're going to have your Kundalini Reiki Master certificate. We've also got, starting in September as well, the 60 days breath work and meditation teacher masterclass. That is a 60-day class, and you're going to get some extra videos, some extra training in there with different styles of meditations, breath work, all kinds of stuff. I really do love it. And with both courses, we're going to tap in a little bit with different styles of yoga. So you're going to learn some beginner yoga when it comes to like yin yoga in the breath work and the meditation. And then in the Kundalini, we're going to talk a little bit and you'll learn a bit of the chanting as well as the intro course to a Kundalini yoga. Next year, we're only going to be offering 2, possibly 3 times that we're going to offer the course. We're not offering every month anymore. Both courses, as you can see, you get extra education, everything like that. But yeah, we're no longer offering every month. So it's now 3 times a year.
Mhm.
RLP is also doing the RLP Virtual Healing Studio. So you can go to our square in our link tree. When you pull it up, it's going to show you some different things. It'll show you our merchandise. But then go over at the top, you'll see about and book. If you go into book, you'll see different things that you can schedule for your own personalization for self or even others, which is going to talk about classes and stuff. And you can schedule those classes separately, but we do offer virtual group classes, which you can find under classes and it'll bring up the list. Right now we're doing that virtually, but if you are in Maryland on 2 Sundays out of every month, we will be doing a sound bath in Hagerstown, Maryland. And it's going to involve some like yin yoga. So bring out your yoga mats, yoga blankets, whatever, and some meditation pillows or just a pillow off your couch to sit on. And we're going to be at the city park doing that meditation, breathing, all the fun stuff, and getting yourself relaxed and getting yourself tapped in with you. And so then next year, we got like, that's things going. I'm loving this. And you guys, we greatly appreciate you for being with us today. Courtney, I want to tell you thank you again for always coming in. And I'm so excited for our adventure next year together. Have a beautiful day, everyone, a beautiful evening, and thanks for joining us. Happy healing.